subscribe to my YouTube channel, share it with your friends, and comment your thoughts. The slap wasn't loud, but it echoed, like a match being struck in a gas-filled room. For a moment, the entire gym went dead silent. Mats squeaked beneath Paul's sneakers. Someone dropped a plastic water bottle. The thud of a bouncing basketball in the far court suddenly sounded too loud. The slap had landed directly across the quiet woman's cheek. Dry, sharp, cruel. Her face stung, but she didn't move. "Maybe next time," sneered Chelsea Langdon, captain of the local cheer squad. "Don't walk like a scared little rat across our routine." She tossed her blonde ponytail, every inch the queen bee. "This isn't your sad little library, loser." Laughter trickled around her. Not everyone laughed, but no one stopped it either. The quiet woman didn't say a word, didn't flinch. She simply bent down and picked up the crumpled stack of flyers that had fallen from her hands. She wasn't even dressed for gym, just a plain grey cardigan, old black slacks, and flats that had lost their shine long ago. Her name was Maya. Few knew her last name. No one really asked. She was a soft presence in the background, the kind of woman who cleaned quietly, spoke gently to toddlers in the daycare, and helped elderly members carry bags to their cars. A harmless shadow, a nobody. That's how they saw her. But what no one in that gym knew, what Chelsea would learn far too late, was that Maya was not what she appeared. And that slap would change everything. 12 hours earlier, Maya had already cleaned the hallway twice. Not because it needed it. It didn't. She just couldn't sit still. Her palms were damp. Today was the business expo at the community center. It was the reason she'd asked the event team for a volunteer shift. It wasn't much, just posting, flyers and guiding guests. But she needed to be close. She needed to be there when he arrived, her husband, Adrian Wexler. Though here, no one called her Maya Wexler. She had never used his last name, never mentioned who he was, never shared what he owned, what kind of life she'd left behind to stay hidden. To them, she was just Maya, soft-spoken, almost invisible, sometimes mistaken for the help even when she wasn't working. She liked it that way. But lately, her quiet nature had become a target. Chelsea, the local star who believed her small-town cheerleading status was the beginning of global fame, had turned Maya into a personal punching bag. "Hey, Mouse," she'd sneered the other day in front of her friends, "try not to breathe so loud next time. It's distracting." They'd laughed like hyenas in designer leggings. Maya hadn't responded. She'd simply walked on, holding back tears. It had been like that since Maya first arrived in this town 2 years ago. People thought if you were quiet, you were weak. They didn't understand. Maya didn't speak, because if she did, she might say too much. Back to the gym. After the slap, Maya moved to the far bench and sat down. Her cheek glowed crimson. She still didn't touch it. Chelsea gave a loud sigh of annoyance. "God, you're weird. Like, seriously, do you even talk?" The other cheerleaders chuckled. That's when it happened. The gym doors opened. At first, no one noticed him walk in. He wore a black shirt and simple trousers, his steps confident but quiet. But then someone at the door gasped. A whispered name spread like a ripple across water. "Wait, is that?" Heads turned. Phones came out, and Chelsea, mid-hair flip, finally turned toward the entrance. Standing there was Adrian Wexler, tall, striking, magnetic, known in tabloids as the reclusive billionaire tech mogul who hadn't been seen in public in over 3 years. The man who had walked away from his empire without explanation. Until today, Chelsea's face shifted from smug confusion to dawning horror as Adrian walked directly, unflinchingly, toward the woman she had slapped. He reached Maya and stopped. Without a word, he knelt slightly and kissed her cheek. The same cheek that bore Chelsea's red imprint. He whispered, "She hit you?" Maya's eyes closed for a second. Then she nodded once. Adrian's jaw tightened. He turned slowly, coldly, to face Chelsea. "You just assaulted my wife," he said, his. Her voice was calm, controlled, but every word sliced through the air. Chelsea blinked. "Well, what? You heard me?" Her face paled. "This is a joke, right? Like, she's your—" No, she's not. She's a janitor." Adrian took out his phone. "Thomas, get the footage and call the center board. She just struck a guest. At a business-sponsored event. 2 men in suits appeared at the gym doors. Another stepped out of a black SUV idling near the curb. Within seconds, 3 legal assistants and an assistant with an iPad were entering the gym." Chelsea's voice shook now. "Wait, please, this is insane. I didn't know she was your wife." Maya stood slowly. Her voice was quiet. But this time it wasn't timid. It was sharp, clear. "Would you have slapped me if I had been—" Chelsea's face twitched. I didn't mean—" "You were in our space. You walked into it." Maya raised her eyebrows. "So that gave you the—" "Right to hit me?" Chelsea sputtered. "You don't understand. My team, my scholarship." Maya looked her dead in the eyes. "I asked you to stop. I asked you to be kind. For days, you laughed, you mocked, you shoved. Then today, you slapped." Adrian's legal rep stepped forward. "She's being removed from the premises for assault and harassment. The video has already been copied. Charges are being discussed. The board will be notified today." Chelsea suddenly dropped to her knees. Please, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it like that. I'm just stressed. I didn't know who she was. I didn't know—" Maya didn't move. For the first time in 2 years, she didn't flinch. She didn't look away. She stood tall, straight, grounded. Chelsea's cries echoed through the gym as she was escorted out. Some bystanders began clapping softly. Others looked away, shame in their eyes. None of them had helped Maya when it mattered. Outside, in the courtyard, Adrian wrapped his jacket gently around Maya's shoulders. She still hadn't said much. The adrenaline was wearing off, and her hands began to tremble. "I didn't want this," she whispered. "I never wanted this kind of attention." He looked at her, his eyes warm, steady, never judged. "You were defending your peace," he said. "There's nothing wrong with that." She looked away. I wanted to help kids. Be invisible. Not be someone's wife, not be rich, not be noticed. But you are noticed," he said softly. "Even when you don't speak. They see you. You shine. That's why she hated you." Maya's eyes filled with tears. "Then why do I still feel like I lost?" Adrian's voice dropped. "Because you're not angry enough yet. You still believe they deserve your forgiveness. You think silence is protection." He paused. "But sometimes silence is surrender." That night, at home, Maya stared out their floor-to-ceiling window in their lakeside property miles from town. Adrian stood behind her, silent. "She's not going to let it go," Maya finally said. "I know. She'll come back. I know. She'll try to turn the town against me." Adrian stepped closer. "She can try." Maya turned around, and in that moment something shifted. Not fear, not shame, but resolve. She had been hiding too long. She had run from her past. Let others define her. Chosen quiet over truth, safety over strength. Not anymore. "I want to go back tomorrow," she said. "To the community center." "Yes. I want to finish what I started." Adrian smiled faintly. "I'll drive you." But neither of them knew. Chelsea had already begun her revenge. She had just posted a carefully edited video, one that cut out the slap and made Maya look like a manipulative gold digger. It was spreading like wildfire, and Maya's quiet life was about to be ripped open. The first message came at 5:17 a.m. Gold-digging rat. "You should be ashamed." By 7:02, there were 64. By 9:45, the mayor's office called the community center to ask who approved the silent con artist working with children. And by 10:30 a.m., Maya stood outside the community center staring at a hand-painted sign taped to the entrance door, "Frauds and whores not welcome." She didn't cry. She didn't blink. She simply stood there, her fingers lightly curled around the strap of her tote bag, and whispered to herself, "This is what shame does. It multiplies in silence." Behind her, Adrian's car remained parked across the street. He didn't like not being at her side. But Maya had asked to go in alone today. She had to face this herself. What she didn't know was that someone inside the center was waiting for her, and it wasn't a friend, just 24 hours earlier. Chelsea Langdon sat hunched over her laptop, in her parents' guest house, her hands trembling with a sick mix of rage and humiliation. She had been suspended from the cheer program. Her college sponsor, upon seeing the footage, had paused her scholarship pending a full review. And worst of all, the media had picked up the story. Small-town cheerleader assaults billionaire's wife in shocking gym video. It was everywhere. YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, even Good Morning Canada had featured it. She wasn't the star anymore. She was the villain, until an idea hit her, a cold, calculated one. Back in the present, 10:35 a.m. inside the community center, Maya walked in. Most people avoided her gaze. A few offered her a weak smile. One woman with a clipboard physically turned and walked the other direction. It was as if, overnight, the town had decided she was dangerous, that she'd deceived them, that being married to a billionaire somehow meant she was pretending to be someone she wasn't. But the truth was far worse. She had been pretending, just not for the reasons they thought. Flashback. 3 years ago, Manhattan Maya stood outside a glass skyscraper with shaking hands. She wore a stiff corporate pantsuit, a forged ID badge, and carried a file that wasn't hers. Inside, Adrian Wexler was due to speak at a private investor event. She had no invitation, just a single photograph, a blurry one, of a woman, smiling, holding a baby. The caption read, "Is this Adrian Wexler's real wife, or a con woman with a child that isn't his?" Maya wasn't in that photo, but she recognized the woman because it was her half-sister, and the baby in the photo was Maya's. That was the day she met Adrian. That was the day everything changed. Back to the community center, Maya made it as far as the front reception before a security guard stepped in front of her. "You're not allowed in," he said flatly. Maya blinked. "Why not?" "Orders from the board, until the investigation is cleared." "What investigation?" He didn't answer. Instead, he handed her a letter. It was unsigned, just a typed note. "You never told us who you were, or what you were hiding. We can't trust you with children or seniors until you're cleared of all accusations." Accusations, Maya's heart began to pound. "What accusations?" she asked. No answer. Behind her, a few gym-goers watched, phones raised, recording. She turned and walked out slowly, deliberately. She would not break down in public, but the moment she sat in Adrian's car and closed the door, her voice cracked. "They're saying I lied to them." Adrian handed her a tablet. "Chelsea released this last night." Maya clicked play. The video was edited to show her standing silently while Adrian declared her his wife, and Chelsea screaming about not knowing who she was. It ended with Maya walking away in what looked like smug silence. The slap wasn't there. Neither were the days of verbal bullying, just a perfectly edited before and after. Chelsea had even added text overlay. "This is what manipulation looks like. She trapped him, she trapped us all." Maya sat in stunned silence. "And people believe this?" she whispered. Adrian's jaw flexed. "They believe what they want to believe. People would rather side with the devil they know than admit they misjudged the angel they ignored." "But I did hide who I was," Maya murmured. "They're not entirely wrong." "You hid the pain," he said gently. "Not the truth. You never used my name, not once. You never wanted anything from them, only peace." Tears streamed silently down Maya's face. "But peace isn't an option anymore," she said. "Not if I want to protect the truth." Later that night, a stranger's knock at 11:12 p.m., Maya opened the front door to find a teenage girl standing on the steps, shaking. "Are you Mrs. Wexler?" she asked. Maya nodded slowly. The girl held up her phone. "Please, I need help. I know something about Chelsea, something bad, but I can't tell the police. Not yet." Adrian appeared behind Maya, tall and protective. "Come in," he said gently. "Tell us everything." The girl's name was Ria. She was 16, a junior at the same high school where Chelsea volunteered as a coach, and she'd seen something no one else had. "She's not just lying about you," Ria whispered. She's done this before, to other girls. She records them, embarrasses them, sometimes threatens them." Maya felt her stomach twist. "I can prove it," Ria said. "But I need you to promise she won't come after me." Adrian nodded. "You have my word. And if she does, I'll bury her reputation deeper than she ever buried yours." Next morning, truth starts surfacing with Ria's help. Adrian's team uncovered old footage, screen recordings from Chelsea's private cloud backup, clips of her mocking special needs students during cheer camp, threatening a girl for not losing weight fast enough, bragging about forging attendance records to keep her scholarship. It was all there. By mid-afternoon, the first blog published a piece titled "America's Sweetheart Cheer Captain or High School Mean Girl." Gone viral. The article went viral. Maya didn't post a thing, didn't tweet, didn't comment. She just waited. But inside, something fierce had lit up. Then came the letter, the one that broke her. It arrived in a plain envelope with no return address. Maya sat by the window and opened it. Inside was a photo, a baby, with her eyes, and a note. "Does Adrian know the real reason you vanished for 2 years?" She went still, stone cold, because the photo was of her son, the one she had never told Adrian about, the one she'd given up to protect him. Trembling, she stood. Adrian saw the look on her face and reached for her. "What is it?" She handed him the photo. He froze. "Is this—" Maya nodded, slowly. Her voice cracked. "His name is Eli. He's 3. He's ours." Adrian stared at her for a long, long time, then quietly said, "You don't have to explain, not now." But Maya shook her head. "No, I do." Maya's secret, finally revealed. 3 years ago, Maya had fled New York with nothing but a newborn and a hospital wristband. Adrian had just been targeted in a kidnapping plot. The tabloids were swarming, and one of Adrian's enemies, an old investor named Marlowe Crane, had discovered that Maya was pregnant. She got a call from a blocked number one night. "Lose the child, or you lose him." Maya had panicked. She didn't tell Adrian. She vanished, left her name, her accounts, her life, and placed her baby in the care of a safe house, known only to one woman, her estranged half-sister, Jade. But she hadn't seen him in over 2 years. Now, someone had found him and was using him to tear her life apart. End of part 2. Cliffhanger. Maya stood by the window, heartbreaking. "Chelsea didn't just want to humiliate me," she whispered. "She wanted to destroy everything I built, even the part I sacrificed everything to protect." Adrian walked to her and took her hand. "Then we take it all back." Maya looked up at him, not afraid, not weak. "Ready? We're going to war. I trusted you." The words echoed across the mansion's marble foyer. Maya stood at the bottom of the staircase, her eyes locked with Jade's, the woman who had once promised to protect her son, and now stood in her home, uninvited, calm, and holding a glass of wine. "You didn't give me a choice," Jade said flatly. "You left a newborn on my porch with nothing but a note." Maya stepped forward, voice shaking. "You said he was safe, that no one could find him." "I said he was safe from the media," Jade replied. "Not from the truth. You were always naive." Adrian stood silently by the fireplace, watching both women. He had said nothing since Jade arrived with a smirk and a threat. "We need to talk," about Eli before someone else finds him first. Flashback, Maya's escape, 3 years ago. Maya had run barefoot through the rain that night, cradling her newborn to her chest, soaked and shivering. The threats were real. Marlowe Crane's men had been seen outside her apartment. She knew they'd come for her child, and the only person who wouldn't ask questions, the only one who owed her, was Jade. They weren't close. They hadn't spoken in years, but they shared blood, pain. A mother who had left them, a father who had denied them both. Jade took Eli in. No questions. Just a nod. A promise. Maya had walked away that night not knowing if she'd ever see him again. Present day, back in the foyer. "Why now?" Maya asked. Jade looked around the luxurious room, her eyes cold. "Because Chelsea got to me. She offered money, more than you can imagine. She asked for access." Maya's blood froze. "Access to my son," Jade smiled grimly. "I didn't say yes, but I didn't say no fast enough." Adrian stepped forward. "Where is Eli now?" Jade turned to him, and for the first time, her voice softened. "Safe, with someone I trust. But the clock is ticking. Chelsea wants revenge, and she's not acting alone anymore." Maya blinked. "What do you mean?" Jade looked between them, then dropped the bomb. "Marlowe Crane is back, and he's funding her. The enemy returns Marlowe Crane." The name sent ice through Maya's spine. He was the reason she ran, Adrian's former business partner, the man who tried to sabotage Adrian's company and nearly succeeded in getting him killed in a staged car accident 5 years ago. He had lost everything, power, reputation, and access, and now he was back, not just with resources, but with Chelsea Langdon as his puppet. "What does he want?" Adrian asked. Jade answered simply, "Eli." Silence. "He wants to prove that the child isn't yours, and if he can't prove it, he'll ruin Maya so badly. No one will believe she's ever been anything but a manipulator." Maya's breaking point. Later that night, Maya sat in the garden alone. The breeze was cold, but she didn't notice. She stared at a photo of Eli, taken when he was just a few months old. Chubby cheeks, her eyes, Adrian's nose. She whispered, "I didn't do everything right. But I did it for him." Adrian came outside and sat beside her. "Then let's fix it, for him and for you." Maya shook her head. "This town hates me. The internet thinks I'm a liar. And now a man who once tried to kill you wants to take our son." Adrian's voice was calm. "Then we go public." Maya turned to him, startled. He continued, "We tell the truth, all of it. We tell the world why you disappeared, who threatened you, what Chelsea is trying to do. We stop hiding." Maya's eyes filled. "What if it ruins everything?" Adrian took her hand. "Then we rebuild, together." The interview. They scheduled a live-streamed interview with Mira Nguyen, a globally respected journalist known for her blunt honesty. The public had only seen Maya as the quiet woman in the viral gym video. Now they would hear from her directly. The studio was quiet, the lights warm. Mira began with a slow, deliberate question. "Maya Wexler, the world knows you as a mystery, a billionaire's wife who never speaks, a woman accused of manipulation. Why now?" Maya took a breath and told the world everything, the threats, the baby, the escape, her silence, her guilt. She didn't cry, she didn't beg, she just told the truth, and then she named Chelsea and Marlowe Crane. Chelsea's collapse begins. The internet reacted instantly. His stand with Maya began trending within an hour. Old clips of Chelsea's cruel remarks surfaced. More students came forward, even teachers. Coaches, a pattern of bullying and cover-ups unraveled quickly. But Chelsea didn't go down quietly. She released her own video the next day, filmed in her luxury apartment, eyes red from crying. "I'm being attacked, gaslit, set up. That woman was never honest. I was trying to protect my friends, my school, But no one was buying it anymore, not when a third party, a former nanny of Marlowe Crane, leaked a photo. One that showed Chelsea, Marlowe, and Eli together. Maya saw the photo and screamed. Adrian barely caught her before she collapsed. The final betrayal. Eli was taken. Jade's voice shook on the phone. I swear I didn't know they followed me. I took him to the clinic. And when I came out, he was gone. The cameras were wiped. No one saw a thing. Adrian was already on the phone with security firms, private investigators, and 2 international agencies. But Maya stood frozen. No, she whispered. Not again. I won't lose him again. The ransom call at 3:17 a.m. Maya's phone rang. Blocked number. She answered, a voice distorted and deep. If you want him back, you'll meet me, alone. No police, no Adrian, just you. She swallowed. What do you want? You. And the real story. The one you still haven't told. Click. The real story. Adrian looked at her. What does he mean? Maya turned slowly. I think I know. And for the first time, she told Adrian the last truth she had buried deep. Eli's birth certificate didn't have Adrian's name. Because at the time, Maya hadn't been sure he'd survived the crash Marlowe caused. She had written, Father, unknown, out of panic, trauma, and fear of being hunted again. But now, Marlowe wanted to use that detail to erase Adrian as the father, to claim Maya used the child to trap him, to flip the narrative. The choice. Adrian stood by the door, holding her coat. You don't go alone, he said. But Maya nodded. I have to, or we may never see him again. He clenched his jaw. I'll be right behind you. No. She kissed his hand. You have to trust me, like I trusted you. Cliffhanger. The warehouse. The warehouse smelled like oil and old paper. Maya stepped inside, alone, her breath sharp in the cold, and then she saw him. Marlowe Crane, gray suit, white hair, eyes like steel, and beside him, Chelsea, holding a small boy's hand. Eli looked up at Maya, his eyes filled with recognition. Mama? Maya's knees buckled. Chelsea smiled coldly. Let's make a deal. Eli's tiny hand was wrapped in Chelsea's as if she were family, but his eyes, his innocent, confused, frightened eyes, locked onto Maya's the second she stepped into the warehouse. Mama. The sound of his voice cracked something inside her. Maya stepped forward instinctively, but Marlowe Crane raised one gloved hand. His presence was a shadow that seemed to stretch over everything. Polished suit, chilling smirk, calm menace. Not so fast, he said. Chelsea stepped to his side, smug. We made a deal. You show up alone. You tell the world the truth. Maya's voice didn't shake. I already did. The world believes me now. Marlowe chuckled. Not this truth. He pulled out a folder and tossed it at her feet. Your son's birth certificate. No father listed. That gives us a window just wide enough to wreck you, ruin your marriage, and claim Eli as the son of a liar. Maya's spine straightened. I didn't list Adrian's name because I thought he was dead. You almost killed him. I was running, bleeding, alone. Chelsea rolled her eyes. Spare us the victim act. But Maya looked directly at her. You hurt people for sport. You humiliated me, mocked me when I said nothing because you knew my silence made it easier to twist the truth. Her voice rose. But here's what you didn't know. My silence wasn't weakness. It was strategy. Flashback. Maya's hidden plan 2 days before this warehouse meeting. Maya had gone to someone she once swore never to see again. Asha Crane, Marlowe's daughter. She had left her father's empire after. He tried to use her in a corporate cover-up. Since then she lived quietly overseas, disowned, but Maya had kept her number. Just in case, in a hotel room near Geneva, Maya showed her everything. Chelsea's threats, the stolen photo of Eli, the birth certificate. Asha didn't hesitate. He's done enough damage. Let me help you end it. Present, the warehouse. Turned suddenly, the warehouse lights cut. A moment later they flickered back on, brighter now, and standing beside Maya was Adrian, Behind him, Asher Crane. And behind her, Interpol agents. Chelsea's mouth opened, but no words came out. Marlowe's eyes narrowed. "Ah," he said softly. "The prodigal daughter returns." Asher didn't blink. "I told you I'd burn every lie you ever built, starting now." She handed a flash drive to the lead agent. "It's all here. Bank records, call logs, flight plans, video surveillance, proof that he funded Chelsea to abduct Eli." Chelsea lunged forward. "That's not, I didn't," he said, but two agents held her back. Marlowe smiled faintly as agents approached. "Every empire ends," he whispered. "I just didn't think mine would end because of you." Maya reunites with Eli, asked Marlowe. And Chelsea were handcuffed and led away. Maya dropped to her knees. "Eli," she whispered, holding out her arms. He stared for a moment, then ran into them. She held him like the world was ending. Maybe it had, but not their world. "Are you hurt?" she whispered. He shook his head. "That lady said you didn't want me." Maya pulled back, her heart twisting. "Never believe that. I loved you so much I hid you. And I'm sorry. I won't ever leave again." Adrian joined them, kneeling. Beside them both. "I'm your dad," he said softly. Eli blinked. "Like, forever, Dad?" Adrian smiled. "Forever." Aftermath. 1 month later, the headlines were everywhere. Chelsea Langdon arrested in billionaire child abduction plot. Marlowe Crane's empire toppled by daughter's explosive evidence. Maya Wexler's silence was a survival strategy, and it just saved her son. But Maya didn't care about the articles anymore. She cared about mornings, when Eli ran into their bed with stories about dreams and pancakes. She cared about evenings, when Adrian wrapped his arms around her, whispering, "We made it." And she cared about healing, real healing. She started therapy not to fix herself, but to finally rest from years of running. Chelsea's downfall. Chelsea's trial was broadcast across major networks. She pleaded temporary insanity. The court wasn't convinced. Her former cheer teammates testified about years of bullying, how she controlled them with threats and humiliation. Even her own brother admitted she forged his signature to transfer money to Marlowe's shell companies. The judge sentenced her to 8 years, no parole. Her fall was public, brutal, complete. But Maya didn't watch the verdict. She was at a quiet park with Eli that day, feeding ducks. Maya's quiet victory. Months later, Maya was invited to speak at a private women's conference. She hesitated, then said yes. She stepped onto the stage in a simple navy dress. No jewels, no glitz, just her. She told them her story, not with drama, but with dignity. She ended with this: "Sometimes silence is survival. But one day you have to choose to speak, not because you owe the world an explanation, but because your healing needs a voice." Final scene. The dance floor. It was a quiet, private party in their backyard. Just friends. No press, no whispers. Eli, now 4, danced on the grass in his superhero pajamas. Maya sat with Adrian, her head on his shoulder. "You know," she said, "I used to dream of disappearing, of never having to answer another question, never be seen." Adrian kissed her hand. "And now," she smiled, "I want to be seen, not for the money or the scandals, but for surviving, for fighting, for making it." Adrian nodded. "You were never invisible, Maya. You were underrated." She laughed softly and danced barefoot under the stars. Final line. They mocked her silence, but in the end it was her quiet strength that shook the world.